This video covers the document E for our Stamp Act DBQ. This is the last and shortest document. It is a graph comparing taxes paid in Massachusetts and in Britain. So before we get to looking at the document at all, don't cheat and look ahead. What do you predict? Based on what you've heard so far from the colonists and from the Parliament, what do you think? Do you think taxes in Massachusetts or the colonies and in Britain are about the same? Do you think Massachusetts pays a lot more taxes? Or do you think Britain pays a lot more taxes? So now we're going to take a look at the notes before we go to the document, because the document's a big spoiler when you look at it. All right, so 2 words that we need to know before we look at the document. Income is the money a person earns from working. So when I get paid my paycheck, that is my income. And then the cost of living is all the money needed to pay for the basics needed to live. So this is your food, housing, and shelter and clothing. That's about it. All right, not the extras, just the basics. Now, cost of living makes a big difference based on where you are. If you go from one neighborhood in Wichita to another neighborhood, you're going to find out that the cost of living is quite different. If you are trying to find a house to buy in College Hill, it's going to be much more expensive than if you're finding a house to buy almost anywhere else in the city, but especially one of the neighborhoods that's not nearly as nice. Same thing is true of other towns. You find a town that has a really good school system, and there's going to be more expensive to rent a house or to buy a house in that place because more people want to move there. We are ready to look at the document and see, does this document show all or just some of the taxes paid by people? Let's see what it says in the note. So this chart was created from secondary sources, a book from 1959 and another book from 2008. That's where they got the information for it. So let's look at the note. The tax burden refers to as the total taxes paid by a person in 1 year. All the taxes paid. This includes taxes paid by Great Britain paid to Great Britain, as well as the taxes paid to colonial governments. So when Benjamin Franklin was saying the colonies pay many and very heavy taxes to the colonies, plus the taxes to Great Britain, putting all that together in this chart, those very heavy taxes and the Stamp Act and other taxes like that. You should have said it was all the taxes. And now let's look at the next note. By the Revolutionary period, the average income, the average paycheck in the colonies was £15 12 shillings per year, compared to £15 14 shillings for those living in Britain. So is that about the same? One a lot higher than the other? Note here that £15 12 shillings. Is that a lot of difference? Oh, the cost of living then. The cost of living in the colonies was much lower. This was mainly because of the wide availability of land in America and the low tax rate. All right, this document may surprise you some. So we should have answered these questions already. Now we're looking at the actual infographic. How is the information organized? And then what does each circle represent? So we're going to start to figure that out by reading the title and the captions. So this is the tax burden. Remember, that's the total taxes paid in shillings per person in Great Britain and in Massachusetts. So 1765 is the year. Great Britain is this row. And Massachusetts is this row. So what does each circle represent? It seems to be like it's shillings, possibly 1 shilling, but I'm not sure. It's definitely representing money. How is this infographic organized? Is it like a cause and effect? We do a lot of cause and effect in history. Or is it a comparison? Or is it like in chronological order, like a timeline? How's it organized? You saw that it is organized comparing 2 things, and each circle represents money. So now we need to do the actual comparison. How do the tax rates in Great Britain compare to Massachusetts? If I have to count, I see 1 circle Massachusetts, and I see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26 circles in Great Britain. The taxes in the colonies were much higher or much lower than the taxes in Britain. When you have finished filling in those notes, please go back make sure you have your packet completely finished up with all of the questions on each of the documents. And then you're going to be ready to finish up with writing a great essay.